I am in a dream, on a rooftop, at a cocktail party. So many people, and yet I don't know anyone. All of a sudden, a figure floating in mid-air catches my attention. It's a dragon. I move away and I'm scared, only to find the dragon even closer to me. I surrender. I feel the dragon's head under my sacrum, the dragon's spine under my spine, and the head supported by the tail. I start singing. As I sing, the dragon lifts me up over the party, over the city, above the clouds. I feel so at peace. When I finish singing, the dragon brings me back, here, on the rooftop. I awake. What has been happening in my life when I had this dream was that what I had been building over 20 years of my academic career was crumbling into pieces. I was not able to secure a job and was facing imminent unemployment and the end of my stay in the United States. I felt that I really had failed. As a yoga teacher and a spiritual mentor, I had taught my students about the inevitability of change, how to honor change and welcome change. And yet here I was, crumbling to pieces and losing my identity only because I was facing a career challenge. How was I to inspire my students and guide them when my own life seemed to be lacking meaning and purpose? Then this dream came to tell me that it was time to leave the rooftop and trust myself, take a leap of faith. It was quite a process. Yes, the weight of building a new chapter of my life outside of that job and that identity as a professor, however, revealed itself as a blessing in disguise. Failure felt like a fire, burning all of the structures in my life that no longer served me. And out of the ashes of failure, 3 gems emerged, 3 pearls of wisdom that I want to share with you today. We all have them, we all know, but sometimes we forget. They are breathe, belong, believe. Out of this place of scarcity where I was when I felt that I had failed, I realized that I was not breathing. We all know that there is a relationship between breathing patterns and emotional patterns, but how easily we forget. The first time that I made a connection between breathing and being was when I was living in India, studying yoga at a traditional ashram with a lot of many students. The matron of the house and our teacher, whom we called Ammaji, asked us this question: who are you? We all came up with wonderful answers. I'm this and this, I've done this and this, I've traveled here and there. It was a beautiful display of egos. It was amazing. And Ammaji was just like, great. She just sat there and smiled. And so she then asked us again, smiling, who are you? And I didn't know what to say. I had told her everything I had done, but she was not interested in doing. She was interested in being. And so she smiled and she said, the answer is in the breath. This sounds so on an inhale and hum on an exhale in Sanskrit language mean this I am. And so she told us, every time we breathe, we hear this prayer, we hear this mantra, I am this I am, and we breathe 26,000 times per day. So this mantra is always with us, with the secret of being this I am. And what is this? It's this body, this breath, it's this room, for example, it's this planet, the Milky Way, black holes and black energy, something bigger, something more comprehensive and wiser than perhaps this separate self that I think I am. This I am. So Ammaji gave us this teaching and this gift. And I remembered when I was feeling I had failed myself, my family, my students, I remembered this teaching, and it wasn't an in-breath that I got up from the floor. Also, I remember this other teaching. When we breathe, we truly belong here with the body. Right? When we breathe, we belong with this body. And when we breathe, we inspire. We become inspired. And when we breathe out, we share this inspiration with each other. So when we breathe together, we belong together. And when we don't breathe, we become isolated. And I was isolated when I was feeling failed. I was isolated. So, belonging is a very powerful feel, right? And it's a natural remedy for loneliness. Do you know that loneliness is becoming an epidemic around the world, right? So a study from the medical school at Harvard revealed that 25 up to 60% of the adult population in the United States suffers from loneliness. It's about 70% in Canada, and the numbers are not that different in Europe either. And psychology journals also agree that a prolonged feeling of loneliness increases the level of stress hormones in the body, leading to poor sleep, a compromised immune system, and it represents a risk factor for your health equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes per day, shortening one's lifespan by 8 years, just because you're lonely. Now, why am I bringing this up? It's because of me. Yes, I was lonely when I was feeling like I had failed, but also because I thought about my students, because loneliness does not just affect the adult population like these journals talk about, they affect the youth too. They affect the students right here on campus. So I decided to connect with my students on this theme of belonging, and I broke down the verb be longing, longing to be. And it dawned on me that actually an important part of belonging is this longing to be seen, to be heard, to be validated, to be part of a group. So I asked the students these questions. Where do you belong? Do you feel like you belong? Do you feel like you don't belong? And the answers were collected in a theatrical piece that we performed on campus here called Belonging, Longing to Be, in which the students, who were a diverse group, answered in their own way because it was a diverse group, so the answers were diverse. And we had solos, small ensembles, and large ensemble pieces. The piece in general hoped to shed some light on the complexities of multicultural dialogue and how we feel isolated when we don't understand each other. The piece ended with this tableau at the center of the room, in which the students were in this shape called the boat of the ancestors, that's how we called it, and were moving together on a breath. And then one by one, each of them fell on an exhale and was held by the others. I don't know if you've ever done this exercise before in theater class or improv. It's really scary to fall and to trust that the ensemble society really will be there for you, will believe in you, right? So this is the third gem, believe. Believing, the verb, comes from an Indo-European root, later transformed into Proto-Germanic as Galaubian. And originally this word means to love, to desire. Right? So to believe is to be loved. Right? And I had to admit, when I was thinking of myself as a failure, that I was not believing in myself. And that this narrative of failure precisely came from lack of love for my process. Right? So I was like, well, but why am I thinking of myself as a failure altogether? Like, I know this, right? I was like, I don't understand. So I dove into scientific research again, and I found out that for people who have experienced trauma, the excitement of success feels like the anxiety experienced during trauma. And that therefore, for people who have experienced trauma, it's even harder to imagine success. Now, as a storyteller, I was so blessed because I knew that you have a power to change your narratives. And I was thinking, wow, am I using my narratives of I'm failed, I'm not good enough, all these narratives, am I using them to actually help me not to feel the anxiety of success? So I decided to turn to my students again as a source for learning. And this time I designed and taught a course in collaboration between this institution and a local jail. And I brought students from DePaul in this program. They're called outside students, to learn with inmates called inside students in this program. Our jail is a place that is saturated with isolation, loneliness, and a feeling of social failure. But people inside the jail, in the same way as people outside the jail, want to belong. They want to believe in themselves and believe in each other. We're not different in that way, right? So I thought, let me bring some storytelling techniques to think of ourselves as the author of our own lives, right? And so I asked the students to imagine themselves as both the characters and the authors of their own life stories as epic journeys. When you claim that you are the author of your own life, you develop inner authority, which is really a precious, precious gift. So let's imagine that this is a regular room in this particular type of class. We would all be sitting in a circle, and first of all, we would connect with the breath. Breathing slowly creates a lot of anxiety in a lot of people. But after you dwell with the breath for a little bit, the anxiety subsides and a sense of calm is created. This is proven. Out of this place of calm, we can think of ourselves as the authors and as the characters. I didn't have any rules for who the characters were. The characters could be the students in the course, in the jail, at DePaul, but also they could be astronauts, which they were, or explorers, doctors, detectives, fairies. And there's no limitation on the time span. It could be an ancient past or the present or an imaginary future. The only rules I had were two. One, that the students, thinking of themselves as characters, would think of themselves in the third person pronoun, he, she, they, or any other pronoun that they would want to choose, but in the third person. Why? Because to take a personal narrative that is emotionally challenging and to turn it into an objective outcome is very healing, because you can witness yourself, you can witness your trauma, you can witness your talents without making it subjective. And then the other rule is that the characters were living in a life that had a task, and the ultimate task is liberation and success, whatever that meant for them. So we all succeeded and we all got liberated. And, in such a context, it may seem like a small deal, right, to have these narratives. But in fact, to imagine that you can succeed is the first step towards its manifestation. Now, the hardest part is to believe in it, right? And in order to believe in it, you have to feel it. So storytelling is a great tool to feel because you're embodying that character. So these are these three gems: breathe, belong, and believe. And I use them every day. And I condense them into an exercise that I use every day and that I want to share with you today. So you can do as much or as little as you like. I practice it daily, sometimes more than once a day. It's helpful. So you can do as much or as little. And what we're going to do is that I'm going to sit here and play the bowl. We're going to breathe together. And then I'm going to invite you to allow a positive affirmation to come to the surface, not so much from your head, but more from your heart. And again, you can do it or not. If you don't participate, you're still participating anyway. So just breathe and connect to the breath, and that's plenty, right? So I also will invite you to repeat this affirmation inside of you for a little bit, or to repeat it out loud, if you like to share it and manifest it out loud. Ready? All right. So take a moment to connect with your breath. You can relax your shoulders and relax your jaw and your lips. Take a deep breath in and feel the inspiration filling you. And then on an out breath, share of yourself with others. Let it flow. And do this a few times and see if you can hear your own breath, creating the sound. See how long you can follow your breath coming into your lungs, all the way deep, deep into the core of your being. And how long you can follow it as it comes out through your nostrils. Relax your brow, relax your brain, relax your lips. If thoughts come up or a feeling of agitation come up, sit with it and start to differentiate your subjective experience with an objective observation of yourself. And imagine yourself as a character in your beautiful life's journey. You're a heroine, a hero. You're strong and on a path to empower yourself. Then see and hear if an affirmation comes up about you in the third person. It could have a verb to be, a noun, or an adjective. For example, she is strong. He is courageous. See what comes up for you. And then if you like to share it, speak it out loud. She is supported. She is supported. She is supported. She is supported. Now feel the sensation of this affirmation in your body. Feel it. How does it feel? Keep breathing. Take another deep breath. Notice the sounds of the room and the sensation in your own body. And then, if your eyes are closed, you can open them now and look around. Just look around the room, turn around. Actually, do make an effort to look. Look around and notice that we're on this path together. And if we all succeed, we all succeed. Thank you.